Shock for a Washington County man. He woke up to find someone he didn't know inside his house.
It happened right near Southwest 171st and Kimmer Road, and that's where Art Edwards joins us live tonight. Art, any progress on finding the man who broke into the home?
No, they haven't been able to find him just yet, but they have been looking hard for him throughout the day. There has been a lot of activity around here all day long. Sheriff's deputies got called to the neighborhood at about 12:30 this afternoon. They used canines from Washington County and Sherwood Police to help with the search. The Portland Police Bureau had its airplane up in the air over the area, and deputies flooded the area as well. A man said that as he was asleep in his home, he heard someone inside. He got up to check it out and found someone that he didn't know inside and confronted him.
There are no injuries, which we're thankful for, but there was some type of, definitely the homeowner confronted the person, so there was some type of exchange.
I don't feel so much safe, especially at night. I can't sleep.
A Cape Coral woman too afraid to show her face after her home was burglarized for the second time, this time by this young woman in a tube top.
The tube top thief took more than $2,000 worth of jewelry, designer bags, sunglasses, even clothing right out of the woman's home, and this happened during the middle of the day.
4 in your Corner's Lisa Greenberg live in the neighborhood with the full story. Lisa?
Patrick and Amy, this is the second time this woman's home has been burglarized. The first time she says she was out $10,000 in jewelry. That case still unsolved, but this time a crop top criminal was caught on camera.
She's knocking on my door.
Then she looks right into the surveillance camera.
And she received a text message.
She takes a look at her phone.
And then she walks out to the driveway, look, both ways, and then walk through the side.
That's when the woman, too afraid to show her face, says the girl seen in this surveillance broke in through the slider in the back.
See the damage here?
The tube top burglar was caught on this Ring camera. It's connected to her doorbell and notifies the woman by phone when there's someone at the door.
I went straight to my jewelry box and it was gone. A couple purses gone, perfumes. A couple days after, I started noticing that some of my clothes were gone too.
The Cape Coral police report says her Michael Kors purses, Gucci sunglasses, diamond rings, necklaces, and other jewelry were taken. More than $2,000 worth of stuff. And this woman doesn't think the burglar acted alone.
Probably she came with someone that probably knows, my house.
And Robin, this next story, every parent with little kids has to watch this.
You got that right, George, because it is a big act of bravery from a little girl, all caught on surveillance camera. A 7-year-old left alone for just a moment. Her mother was just a couple of aisles over in Walmart, and she was almost abducted. ABC's Yunji Denise joins us live from Atlanta this morning, and you heard what George said. Parents are going to be watching this with great interest. Yunji.
Absolutely, Robin. The video is stunning. A little girl fighting a grown man allegedly trying to kidnap her, but she scared him off and saved herself. It happened so fast. You can see the man grab 7-year-old Brittany Baxter, trying to carry her out of the Walmart toy aisle.
He just grabbed me.
It was just about 24 hours ago when Brittany, out sick from school, was shopping with her mom, who stepped away to grab some fruit, leaving her daughter to play in the toy aisle. That's when store cameras captured this man snatching Brittany, but the second grader put up a fight.
I was screaming and kicking him, trying to get away. He put his hand over my mouth.
Wow, and then what happened?
And then he just dropped me and went and ran off.
As the suspect left the store, surveillance cameras captured him getting into his car. Police put out an alert, and within an hour, they made an arrest. Police arrested 25-year-old Thomas Woods, who was recently released from state prison, out on parole for manslaughter.
It didn't bother nobody. I was never there.
The Baxters are shaken but thankful.
I'm very proud of her. I'm just thank the Lord that she got away.
I'm still scared to death, and now I'm thinking I'll never be able to let her out of my sight, even for a second.
And this brave 7-year-old has some good advice for what to do when a stranger approaches.
Always scream, try to scream and kick as hard as you can, and go get somebody that you trust.
Some very wise words there from Brittany. Now Thomas Woods is being held without bond. He faces attempted kidnapping among other charges. Walmart tells us they are very glad that their surveillance cameras helped to capture the suspect, and they're happy that little Brittany is safe. Robin.
And I hear she has a little father-daughter dance that she's going to real soon.
That's right, Robin. On Friday is the daddy-daughter dance. You know, she was out sick with strep throat, which puts this all in another context to think that she was sick and fighting off that would-be attacker. But they've got that daddy-daughter dance on Friday, and they say it has special meaning on Friday.
Yeah, Daddy's going to be holding her real tight. All right, Yunji, thanks very much. And so good that they were able to make an arrest like that so quickly.
But we do begin this half hour with a teenager who helped to stop a robbery happening inside his home. He and his siblings were there during it all. It was caught on video. And as NBC's Joe Fryer tells us, the teen's dad now calling his son a hero.
As two suspects pulled up to a North Las Vegas home, they didn't seem to notice the security cameras watching their every move. First, one man knocked on the front door, wondering if anyone was inside.
Just darted up the stairs.
Turns out 14-year-old Andrew Mason was home with his two younger siblings. The kids looked at the camera footage, did not recognize the men standing out front, so they didn't open the door. But a few minutes later, the suspects found their own way in.
And they were able to push the glass in and put their hand in, unlock the door, and that was it. They had access.
The kid's dad, Kiawa, was not home at the time, but he had prepped his kids for a situation just like this.
This is the closet we hid in. Told them to hide in here.
Andrew also brought a couple items into that closet.
I had a rifle, I had a cell phone, called 911. Like, I was just prepared for it.
As one suspect positioned their car outside the house to load it up with stolen goods, the second burglar opened that closet door.
Then he sees me with my rifle in my hand. Then he just takes off running.
The footage shows the suspect hauling out one last item, hauling it into the car before they raced away. Seconds later, police arrived.
It makes my stomach unsettling just watching it.
Kiawa is grateful his kids are okay, stressing he has trained his son how to use a rifle.
My son, he handled everything perfectly, absolutely perfectly, and he is a hero.
A break-in thwarted just 10 minutes after it began. For Today, Joe Fryer, NBC News.
We're just saying, our director Lee just got in my ear and he said, I think they have more cameras at their house than we have in our studio.
There were like 14
Amazing.
security cameras
Wow.
at that house. Unbelievable.
Run, Emmy, run! 7-year-old Emmy McCardle was sunbathing outside her house in Salt Lake City when a car pulled up. The driver offered a friendly greeting. Then he asked an enticing question that any little kid could fall for.
No.
But little Emmy knew just what to do. She yelled no and ran into her home.
I believe that he was looking for a child to take.
Emmy's mom, Michelle, knew something was wrong the second her daughter ran through the door.
She came running in and said, "Hey, there's a tricky guy outside that tried to get me."
I didn't want to go with him because he looked like a tricky man, and I didn't know him, so I didn't want to go with him.
Emmy showed us how she bravely took action when the stranger called out to her. A surveillance camera on her doorbell captured the scary episode.
No.
You can hear him ask if she wants a bicycle, and she says no.
Michelle says she taught her two kids from an early age about stranger danger.
Never go with a tricky person because they try and take you to a bad place.
I'm so grateful that she knew what to do.
Mom hopes other kids will see this video and learn from it. Salt Lake City police are now asking for the public's help in tracking down the driver of the late model green Ford Taurus.
It's very suspicious. First of all, just the mere fact that he stopped in front of the home, that she's there sunbathing. Then when he starts engaging her in conversation, again, it's not typical that an adult would converse with a young child like that.
No.
All new at 6 in Tempe, a crook messes with the wrong house, but he has no idea, and it's all thanks to a prepared homeowner and a little device that could keep you safe in an instant. Only on ABC 15, here's Kim Tobin near Baseline in College.
The homeowner was alerted that somebody was in his house by sensors. He turned on his Nest Cam, and he'll watch it all unfold right on his phone.
A glove on one hand, a sock on the other. This guy strolls through this home like he owns the place. Little did he know, the homeowner just got a ping on his cell phone.
I just want to turn on the camera and see if anything's going on.
Ian watched in horror as the man went through his things and even picked up his safe.
That first moment where you see the guy cross, man, my heart started like beating really hard. And you're just like butterfingers trying to like call 911.
And Tempe police were fast, waiting outside in unmarked cars. You can see the guy checking through the blinds. But then the siren tells him they're coming in. He makes a break for it, heading to the side door, but changes his mind, running out the front.
Don't move! Keep your hands up!
You can see in this police lapel camera video as he's taken down. Officers make sure no one else is inside, clearing the home with their police dog, armed with a shield and guns drawn.
It's like watching, an episode of Cops on television. You don't expect it to ever happen in your own home.
Emilio Garduño was booked on burglary charges, and officers seemed pretty impressed by the camera.
Thank God it ended well, but even still, I feel like the house isn't safe anymore. You kind of want to ramp up the security, add more cameras and everything else.
The homeowner says having the Nest Cam in place, always a good idea, but you want to have multiple layers of defense, maybe get a dog, and also get to know your neighbors so they can help you out as well. Now back to you.
A man is under arrest after the FBI says he was seen on surveillance video abducting a child off the street and forcing her into his vehicle. Authorities say it happened in Illinois. The FBI obtained this terrifying video, which they say shows the suspect grab the victim as she was walking on a sidewalk. He allegedly put her in his red Ford Explorer and drove to an alley where he assaulted her. Police say she was able to get out of the car and flag down a passing driver. 38-year-old Brian Protho was arrested and charged with 1 count of kidnapping. He will appear in court in February. Until then, the FBI says he will remain in federal custody. For InsideEdition.com, I'm Mara Montalbano.
Peeping Toms have been around since Lady Godiva was riding around naked on horseback. And while tiny cameras can make it easier for creeps to spy, they've also made it possible to nab some of those voyeurs and prosecute them. Lisa Guerrero reports.
It's a disgusting invasion of privacy. Creepy guys peeking into your window without you ever knowing. This 36-year-old businessman from Colorado was caught red-handed looking inside a 17-year-old girl's bedroom window. And this guy has the nerve to take a chair to get a better look inside a bathroom window. By the way, he's a registered sex offender from New Jersey.
These creeps often use the cover of darkness, thinking no one can see them while they're spying on you. Little do they know, some homeowners have turned the tables and are recording them. Often that's the only way these peeping Toms will ever get caught.
I would hear a male voice and it sounded like moaning coming from right here.
For 3 weeks, 29-year-old Noelle Bracey heard strange noises outside her window as she was getting ready to head out to work.
All I could see was him silhouetted. So I saw his head and then his shoulders, and he was staring straight at me.
That's when she bought a camera. 2 days later, the peeping Tom was caught on tape.
He's literally looking at a tiny little hole and peeping at me while I'm tooting. He sees the camera light turning on, and so he immediately turns around and walks away.
The peeping Tom is still on the loose.
There he is.
That's him sneaking in.
This homeowner from New Mexico caught a peeping Tom staring into a window on the side of his home.
And whose window is that?
My 16-year-old daughter's window.
Oh, no.
What the peeper didn't know was that this father of 3 has 8 cameras monitoring his property.
Even though he had a hoodie on, that camera was able to capture all the way from his eyes to the bottom of his face, because you could actually see him blinking.
Yes.
Neighbors in this upscale community were shocked to learn the identity of the peeper. He's a former deputy with the local sheriff's department. Ventura Salas pleaded no contest. Now we come to this guy. He wasn't satisfied peeping into a young child's bedroom. He actually climbed a wall to get a better look into the bathroom.
Each time they do this,
and there's no repercussions. They become more and more brazen.
District Attorney Tim Ward.
You're not saying every peeping Tom is going to escalate to something
not at all.
more violent, but you're saying it's possible.
It's possible.
I caught up with the accused peeper. He's on trial today and has pleaded not guilty.
What were you doing there? Sir, are you a peeping Tom?
For these homeowners, there is a sense of relief that they were able to turn the tables on the slimy creeps who violated their privacy in such depraved ways.
He invaded my privacy and he took my sense of security away.
Penalties for peeping Toms vary widely, but they usually result in fines and less than a year in jail. That deputy sheriff pled no contest to peeping. He'll be sentenced the end of the month.
It's chilling video. A burglary is in progress. And look, there are 2 children sleeping on sofas. The burglar is right there. It gets spookier. There's a second intruder. You can see him pointing a gun. Imagine if one of those kids had woken up.
That really freaked us out when we saw that. We couldn't believe it.
Al Vera is the grandfather of the 2 sleeping girls who were on a sleepover at his house outside Orlando.
Heaven forbid you would have woken up and walked outside your door.
That's what the police said. Thank God I didn't wake up when my wife woke up and walked out there. He said you probably would have been shot.
The burglar took off with a cell phone along with a gun and credit cards. Across the country in Fort Worth, Texas, another home invasion is caught on tape. Get this. The woman had fallen asleep watching, of all things, the crime show A Stranger in My Home on the Investigation Discovery Channel. When she woke up, she found a stranger really was inside her home. She tried to escape out a window, but the bad guy dragged her back in. She screams so loud, the intruder flees. 2 terrifying videos of crimes that could have ended in tragedy.
I hear a noise like someone shuffling through papers or something, or he's trying to look through drawers.
When an 11-year-old boy got home from school, he knew something wasn't right.
Then when I look around the corner, there's this man with a hoodie, black shirt, black jeans, and yellowish shoes, standing there just looking at me.
It was an intruder in his house. Alan Schneiderman says when he saw the man, they both took off running. Alan went straight to a neighbor's house to get help.
My heart immediately started pounding.
A security camera in the family's home helped police identify the man as 23-year-old Thomas Coughlin, a local landscaper. He was arrested and charged with burglary and theft. Police say if you ever find yourself in this situation, take a lesson from Alan Schneiderman.
Do what that young man did, the 11-year-old did. If it's not right, it's not right. If you don't think it's right, then it's not right. Get out and get help.
For InsideEdition.com, I'm Mara Montalbano.
A baby snatched at the mall. It happened at the swanky King of Prussia Mall outside Philadelphia, one of the largest shopping malls in America. A mom and her 7-week-old son were in the food court when a stranger began chatting with them.
When the baby started fussing, Mom, whose attention was distracted by a phone call, let the stranger hold him. And that's when disaster struck. She simply walked off, cradling the newborn in her arms.
This surveillance video shows the suspect leaving the mall with the baby. Cops immediately sent out an Amber Alert for little Asir Simmons. The alert was shared more than 5,000 times on Facebook. Help find this baby. Be alert, woman kidnaps baby at King of Prussia Mall.
The alleged kidnapper reportedly told relatives that she was pregnant. Amazingly, she took the baby to her neighborhood to show him off. She claimed she had just given birth even though the baby was 7 weeks old.
That Amber Alert really worked. Cops say a tip led them to an apartment in this building 6 miles from the mall where they found the woman and the baby who was unharmed. This was the joyous scene at the local police station as the baby was reunited with his loved ones.
It was one of the best feelings ever.
Mom Malika Hunter was full of gratitude to all the citizen sleuths who helped find her son.
My son really took over social media for a day. And everybody was just, the support was pouring in.
The accused kidnapper appeared in court Friday. There's a lesson in this story for mall shoppers, says security expert Steve Cardian.
It's not a place to drop your guard. You're surrounded by strangers that may have ill intent.
Fortunately, this story has a happy ending, thanks to all those detectives on social media.
Only on ABC Action News, a brave 12-year-old girl squares off face-to-face with a burglar alone in her home. All new at 11, ABC Action News reporter Michael Paluska tonight with how that girl was able to scare that man off.
You heard this switch go up?
I heard that, and I felt the glare shining down on me.
And then you looked over and he was
I looked up. He wasn't right here. He was looking back here trying to figure out, I think he was trying to figure out how to unhook my TV.
12-year-old Paris Hall walks us through the crime scene step by step after a man broke into her Lake Wales home Monday morning.
I feel like if I would have got scared, then maybe he would have got scared.
Woken from a dead sleep, Paris says she was confused. The man telling her he knew the family.
I had it was an old phone that didn't work. It was sitting on my dresser. So I guess he looked at that and made up an excuse saying, oh, my uncle told me to come get my phone.
She didn't buy it.
I told him to leave and he left and he went out the back door.
Lake Wales police releasing this sketch. Paris telling us it looks identical to the man in her home. She wants you to focus in on his lips, his most identifiable feature. Well, things weren't scary enough for Paris. After she ran out of her room and called for help, her grandfather said to run across the street to the neighbor's house, but the guy was outside waiting for her. That's when she ran into the kitchen and grabbed that knife.
I had pulled out and grabbed it like this. And I went back over to the door and I had the knife. It was here. And I told him, I said, you need to leave. I don't know you. No, I don't want to come outside and chill with you.
Paris's grandparents grateful she stayed calm, remembered the burglar's face, and didn't get hurt. She is scared to sleep alone, but she knows that police will hopefully get him off the streets soon.
When the police finally catch him, I'll be relieved.
In Polk County, Michael Paluska, ABC Action News.
Well, the criminal element is out in our community. We do see that on the news every single day.
There's a lot of stories about people just not being aware and getting taken advantage of.
And the sooner you can recognize the potential that someone's out to do you harm, it's time to act. You need to stay alert all the time. An ATM is an example. The Refuse to Be a Victim program is a robust crime prevention curriculum for members of the community. Have the mindset that you will survive. There is no other option.
It's for men and women of all ages. It's not a firearms or self-defense class, but it just teaches them simple steps and techniques that they can take in their everyday life to avoid becoming a victim of crime.
It's 10:30 at night and you're by yourself.
The Refuse to Be a Victim program actually came at the request of NRA members, NRA board members, and even some NRA staff members who became more concerned with the increase in violent attack, especially on women in America.
Actually, at my 24th year of service as a police officer, and during that time I served as a crime prevention officer, and I ran across the Refuse to Be a Victim program at a seminar. I heard the message, and I thought this is an awesome curriculum for me to pass to the community.
Ed is fantastic. He's been with the program for over 12 years now. He is our only executive counselor, which means he's the only person in the entire program that can teach regional counselors. So he is the highest level.
I try to bring in realism that crime does happen, but what we can do is do everything possible to prevent it from happening.
Ladies and gentlemen, we need you to be aware of your surroundings. Who's around?
He really knows how to convey the message and convey how serious and potentially life-changing the information is.
If you have the suspicions that someone is watching you, just walk away. Just turn and walk away.
The program is very popular. We've got seminars being held every single day around the country.
Covering everything from what kind of locks and frames you should have on your door to how to talk to your small children about safety. There's a special college section. There's a section for senior citizens.
It covers everything. Comprehensive vehicle theft prevention, home safety, child safety, how to prevent burglary, physical assault.
When I first took the Refuse to Be Victim course myself, I thought it was going to be pretty self-explanatory. Don't walk in dark alleyways by yourself, you know, common sense things. And, you know, you walk out of there thinking, like, I never even thought about that. Like, different things. It goes over workplace safety, goes over technology security. You know, there's all sorts of new internet scams out there every day.
Know your boundaries. We all have boundaries, and they're gonna change.
We talk a lot about the psychology of a criminal, how criminals operate.
Now, we shouldn't be fearful that crime can happen at any time or all the time, but there's boundaries.
It tells you ways to increase your awareness as you go through your daily activities and how you can take just a few moments to evaluate situations and make decisions as to what best to do.